There is an old saying that there is power in the pussy. Well, they have never lied. Divine Feminine, if you don't know your power, you are so powerful, so magnificent, so brilliant, so exquisite, so delightful and powerful, bold, honorable, in many ways, more ways than one. I am just honored to just know the spiritual power of what I hold in my essence, which is my menses, my menstruation, okay? Let's go ahead and break down what this really means. You know, I was watching a YouTuber and they was having like various discussions about, menstrual bleeding and various uses of it. And one of the people in the chat basically said that menstrual stood for Mens-Tru-Al, as in Elohim. But when they said that, it sounded like it, and I almost bought it, but I'm not that easy to persuade when it comes to conscious things because of the vibration of where I am in my consciousness. So me with my inquisitive self, I said, you know what, Tanya, this would be really fun to just research this subject, explore this subject matter a little bit further, and really find out what does menstrual mean. And so I got a download that came to me before I even started researching. And I got Mens-Tru-Alchemy. It's not an E-L at the end of menstrual. It's an A-L. And so I said, self, what does that U-A-L, Yule, menstrual, what does that stand for? What does the Yule stand for? So I researched where the Yule derived from, and it's from a Latin word, Iulus, which means central or a process. Words that also start or end with the affixation Yule, okay, will be sexual, perpetual, and ritual. And if you look at all three of these words, they are all processes. So I started digging a little bit deeper, okay? I Googled menstrual uses of blood. I Googled period uses and spells, etc. Oh my God, I got a plethora of information. It was just too much to put all in one transmission. So I said, let me go ahead and compile what I have gathered, and then I will share it on YouTube. So what we're talking about is menstrual blood and the spiritual power behind it. And we're going to kind of go into some of its uses, and then we're going to talk about the fecundity or fecundity of its power. So anyway, first and foremost, this was used by ancients for the medicine power behind it, which allowed women to experience death and rebirth every month with the tides of the moon. Okay, if you look at the woman's body and her curves, they're in circles, just like we look at the moon, and we have the cycles. I love when I get God signs. I love it. Okay. Ancient womb cultures all revered the womb as both the cosmic creatrix from where all is birthed, as well as a woman's individual power. Okay? The place where she can incarnate a soul into the earthly plane, and also where she can manifest her dreams into physical creation through her sexual desire. Now, you guys, a woman's ability to bleed without dying was considered a magical power within itself, and it was understood that her auricular senses heightened during this dark moon time. And so when the mystical stem cells encoded with the wisdom of creation had peaked in their fullness, and where it is being shed from her body to be offered back to the earth for the well-being of the entire community. While our stories and our dogmas and our current religious paradigms have been distorted to suggest menstruation as being something that is unclean, something that is taboo, something that is forbidden, something that is dirty, and when women basically were cast out of temples during that time, originally these women went into retreats during their bleeding cycle, which was normally for 7 days, to allow themselves to channel the highest and the deepest visions for the collective healing. Okay? I'm going to add to this. There are women, okay, who don't like to be on their periods, so they go to the medical doctor to get a prescription and a drug to stop their power. And they don't realize that they are getting cancer-causing chemicals injected into their bodies, or they consume it. Respectfully so, there is a price for paying with nature. For playing with nature, not paying. So, well, you're going to end up paying eventually. That's probably why I said that, because I heard it. But anyway, these communal rooms that were available for the women, it was because it was deeply respected and recognized that the woman needed to connect with the ancestors and her grandmother, which is also known as a bijoué, okay, from one tribe. That's what they call it. And it was just so she can gain wisdom and insight and be able to tap into her psychic powers and connect with Source. Nowadays, it's frowned upon and looked at as something that is unclean. There we go, another God sign. And, something that's forbidden. I even dated a guy that wouldn't even come near me when I was on my menses. I couldn't go spend a night at his house. He would dare not come and spend a night at my house. He is of African descent, and he is from Togo. He's Togolese. He wouldn't even touch me. And I didn't even feel, it was the most unnatural feeling in the world. Even when he didn't even want to be around me. It was just that indoctrinated in his mind of it being just a taboo and unclean. But here we are. A new dawn and a new day for us, a new era that we are living in. And if anything, menstruation needs to be celebrated. Women, by far, by virtue of our wombs, should be revered around the world. We bring new life into the world. Our bodies should be treated like the precious temples that they are. Yet we have deemed impure for millennia and time immemorial. And I believe, in my honest opinion, it's fear-based thinking. And it's because of its traditional use and the power behind it. But we need only to look around us and find examples of cultures that treat women differently and that see menstruation as a source of power and not impurity. Myself, being of the Cherokee Nation, consider women in their tribe that are menstruating as sacred, strong, and infused with the ability to defeat enemies. Some cultures considered menstruating women as sorcerers imbued with magic, like the ancient Egyptians, where menstrual blood was incorporated into medicine treatments and spells, and Isis was drawing down the blood, and she created Thoth, which is also known as Tahuti. Okay? That conception was so powerful that even Tahuti found out how to make creation on his own without a woman. He is the only god and the first god that I know of, via my research, that created life. Period. Okay. Other than the God in the Bible, you don't hear of no other God creating any life form. Only the goddesses did that. Also, in ancient Greece, menstrual blood was mixed with wine and spread in the fields when it was time to do crop planting. Okay? It was done in order to enhance the soil's fertility. And among the balls in the Bengal today, menstrual blood is mixed with milk, camphor, palm juice, and sugar and drunk by those present. And is viewed as a powerful substance that aids in memory, concentration, love, and joy. And in the biblical times, they had those communal rooms that I told you about where women will go and regroup and recover and rest from their work. I also believe that they were shunned because of the power that they could possess if they used their blood. I feel that those mothers that go into labor should keep their placenta after their birth for various reasons. One of the reasons is because of the use of the stem cells alone. The stem cells could be used to regenerate your body members. Some rub it on their breasts to make their breasts prevent it from sagging. Some rub it on their legs to clear up cellulite, and so forth and so on. There's many uses of menstruation blood, and as I said, I can't get into all of the uses and all of the things today, but I'll have to do a second segment. But I am going to give you enough for now, enough to just kind of wet your palate and just get acquainted as the divine feminine that you are about your power. And I hear a lot of people want to rush into menopause so they can stop the bleeding because they don't like it. But if you knew how to honor what God gave you, then you would appreciate what you have. So, Black Madonna is known for the goddess with the power and might of a menstruating woman. The dark goddess, a woman who is bleeding, has both been revered and feared at the same time for her power and abilities to control the weather. It was said that her gaze could cause a flood or dry up ponds. Her glance could wither plants and trees, cause crops to fall, and make cows sick and die. Her touch could make weapons ineffective in the hunt. She could also make it snow if she wanted to. That was a very powerful goddess. And Isis, come on now, Aset, very powerful, and used her blood. She knew her power. And the Bible also confirms that there's power in the blood because of the life force. It speaks about the blood being life. So as I've deepened my own reverence for my moon blood, because that's what I say when I come on, I say I'm on my moon, because you're on your cycle. I've been practicing giving it back to the earth each time it comes. There are menstrual cups where you can collect your menses if you choose to do so. You can't knock it until you try it because, oh baby, there's a whole lot of benefits from it. There is an ancient Hopi prophecy that states when the women give their blood back to the earth, men will come home from war and earth shall find peace. If you really think about how powerful this act of love is to the ancestors and to Mother Earth, then you would recognize that there is good in the sacrifice of your blood back to the earth. Ritual, however you want to look at it, okay? And the good thing is you don't have to do a human sacrifice or a blood sacrifice, for an animal. You can use your period blood, okay? I feel like giving my blood to the earth, to me, is just like a little ritual within itself that strengthens my conviction in Mother Earth and to the moon. And becoming one and just being very cyclical within this nature going with the natural ebb and flow. And it connects me to my feminine side, the divine feminine. One thing I can tell you, every woman that I know that is connected to her cycle is very intuitive and spiritual. Okay. When you think of the moon, just think of intuition. Okay, the two go hand in hand. Also, I want to tell you about the creation in Genesis. The story goes that Eve's punishment for eating of the forbidden fruit is to forever suffer through the labor pains during childbirth and bleed every month for 7 days, which in fact, a woman's fertility is the source of her power, her ability to create life from her own body, to gestate a sacred seed in the garden of her womb. And for our ancestors as well, that lived in the times of the religious ceremonial womb practices, both birth and menstruation were orgasmic initiations, bringing a woman through the veil between the worlds. Okay? Here we go with the psychic powers again. Being connected. Bringing heaven to the earth, the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail was blood, you guys. So just as our earth, the underworld, or feminine mythos, magic, and ancestral became barbaric, dirty, sinful, and shameful, so too did our blood. One of our greatest powers to restore and to heal became a curse, filled with taboo. The surest way to disconnect a woman from her own power is to convince her that this power is inherently impure and it separates her from God. Okay? When a woman chooses to reclaim the holy nature of her menstruation, she heals not only herself, but for her, she heals her ancestors, our collective, and the future generations that are to come. The woman is just so powerful that if you knew the true essence of who you were, ooh, baby, you will move and act differently within your being. Real talk. That is so, so, so real. There is a long history of the use of menstruation blood dating back thousands and thousands of years ago. Let's start with the Gnostic Christians who used to call their religious sect the Synaxism. Okay? The Synaxism. Another word for agape, which means the way of Shaktiism. Shiva and Shakti. Shakti being a feminine version, referring to tantric yoni worship. Yes, in Hindu culture, they worship the pussy. They worship the vagina. They worship the yoni, which means sacred space. One of the most important rituals was preparing a drink of immortality made from menstrual blood, which is full of healing stem cells. There is a scientific proof of this, you guys, which can actually activate our cellular capacity to regenerate and transport us to endocrine states of rapture. Ecstasy. You wonder why most witches have faithful men. And most of their men, they don't put on camera, but for those that do, they're not bothered because they know they already have tamed them. How do you think they've done this, ladies? With their menstrual blood. You got it if you guessed it. Okay? And these men are happy as can be, and they're aware, and they don't care because they love their women. There are certain people that have sex on certain days of their cycle with their man. Excuse me. On purpose. One, because it heals him and it puts life force back in him. Otherwise, normally when a man ejaculates, he loses his life force. But for those women that are in the occult, that love their men and want to pour back into their men and, replenish and repair them, they know how to do it. Ask Erykah Badu. Don't think for 1 second that Erykah Badu is just giving up coochie and she just got the bomb coochie like that and she got these men going crazy. No, Erykah has had sex on that specific day when she was on her menses with these men, and that has kept them in love with her forever. Erykah's not stupid. She's very spiritual. Okay? I found out from my mother that there is power in the menstrual blood. And what day to be intimate in order to keep your man tamed and to keep your man faithful. Anyhow, there are other cultures that have passed down this information, especially in the Creole circle. Creole women, they put period blood in their men's food and feed it to them. And that's how they tame them. Okay? That's how they keep them. So, when this period blood is consumed, in a spiritual sense, it opens up the cosmic consciousness of heaven. Okay? Or paradise, whichever one resonates. So, let's go to the love feast or sacred marriage. A core part of the menstrual mysteries was eventually declared a heresy, and women were barred from participating in Christian rites. Another God sign, you guys. However, the power of rebirth and resurrection previously associated with the menstrual blood of the Divine Mother was transferred to the story of Jesus and his ritual of Eucharist. This is the chalice of my blood, where worshippers drink his blood to gain the power of rebirth. Okay, you had to drink of his blood in order to be resurrected, you guys. In most ancient myths and religions throughout the world, dating back hundreds of years, thousands of years ago, like I explained, the power of rebirth had always been a blessing of the feminine womb, embodied and gifted by sacred womb priestesses across many cultures. It had never been held by a man. Although there are many legends about the menstrual powers of feminine shamans being stolen by male gods. Let's go back to the Holy Grail. In its true original essence, it's the womb, you guys. That's the chalice. It's not a literal thing. And since those times, once the birthright was lost, women across many lineages and cultures, womb priestesses have practiced many varied ways to heal, clear, and open the womb so it can once again embody the frequency of love, of original creative power, so that the energetic and physical stem cell capacity can activate pure states of consciousness and activate incredible regenerative healing. This knowledge, you guys, has been almost lost over eons, as if it has been fragmented, scattered deliberately, and destroyed. Again, Creole women, African women have known how to use it in order to lure their lovers in and to keep them. All right? So evidence of the sacredness of the menstruation throughout all cultures before the rise of the male-dominated patriarchy system that we live in dominated. The matriarchal systems acknowledged it, accepted it, okay, and allowed it. The Mars stated explicitly that human souls are made of menstrual blood, which, when retained in the womb, assumes human form and grows into a man. This is the luteal phase, okay? The luteal phase is what the retention of the menstrual blood before it sheds again 14 days later is all about, and this is how the human is formed. Africans said menstrual blood is congealed to fashion a man. Told you to keep him. All right. Aristotle said human life is made of coagulum of menstrual blood. In some Hindu theories, as the Great Mother creates, her substances become thickened and form a cord or a clot. This was the way she gave birth to the cosmos, and when women employ the same method on a smaller scale. Native Americans or South America said all mankind was made of the moon blood in the beginning. In ancient Mesopotamia, they believed the great goddess Ninhursag made mankind out of clay and infused it with her blood of life. Does this sound familiar? Adam, from the feminine Adama, means bloody clay. The Bible story of Adam was lifted from an older female-oriented creation myth recounting the creation of man from clay and moon blood. He was made from red clay. Let's make this shit make sense, you guys. Come on. You gotta research. Sometimes people think they know, but you have no idea. Do you really? In the Quran's creation story, it says that Allah made man out of flowing blood. But in a pre-Islamic Arabia, Allah was the goddess of creation. First God, then pre-Islamic Arabia, goddess. Which one? Both. Why not? Okay, so we also got Plutarch, who said man was made of earth, but the power that made a human body grow was the moon. The source of what? You guessed it. Menstrual blood. Again. So you guys, men and women both buy period blood online due to its powerful uses for spells. In some cultures, such as the African American hoodoo culture and in Sicilian folk magic, it's believed that serving menstrual blood to a man will capture his sexual attention, it will tame him, and it will keep him from straying. You don't need any spells to go along with it. That is the spell within itself, supposedly. The woman's scent is added to the man's consciousness, and he'll either become obsessed with her, commit to her, or never stray, depending on what the owner of the period blood is trying to achieve with her intentions. The way it works scientifically, you guys, is in an explanation in part by science. It all has to sum up with one word, and that is pheromones, which is also in certain colognes and perfumes, which practitioners know to wear in order to draw that in. Okay? So men in these cultures are often warned not to accept brown or red drinks or foods with brown or red hues or sauces from unmarried women because some menses-related witchcraft might be in the lurk. Sorry. But I gotta have fun with this. So, anywho, the association of menstruation with sacredness is reinforced in tantric practices such as yoni puja, worship of the female yoni. Yes, worship of the pussy. Okay? Wherein a ritual worship is carried out not only of a woman, but also of her yoni or vagina, which is perceived to be a symbol of the cosmic yoni from which the entire universe has emerged. Menstrual blood is in fact considered pure and sacred and plays a very important role in these tantric rituals. The Bauls, which is spelled Bauls, believe that through the ritual practice of sexual yoga during menstruation, the fish, which is the feminine aspect of the divine, which we also see the fish as a sign of Christianity. Come on now, are you guys seeing the correlation here? That swims in the menstrual fluid could be united with the kashir and a state of yogic bliss or anada can be attained. In other words, what I'm saying is that the Bauls perform sexual intercourse during menstruation as a means to attain divine bliss and spiritual emancipation. It is important to note that this sexual intercourse indulged as a part of Diha Sadhana is purely a devotional act. It should not be confused with sexual intercourse indulged in the sake of sexual pleasure and conception. There is a difference. The importance of menstruation during the Diha Sadhana can also be understood by the fact that the time of monthly periods is called Mahayoga, which is great yoga. That's what it stands for. And the first and the third of the menstruation are designated as new moon or full moon, respectfully. Okay? I will leave you with this one thing. Some witches use the menstrual blood to heighten the potency of their love spells for both themselves and for clients. It definitely makes sure that it goes through. That's for ding dang on sure. However, be very cautious of the use of blood when it is someone that is not your husband or belongs to someone else, because you don't want to create that drama or karma. Okay? Blood spells are very powerful, and they should only be used by people like myself that know how to do high occult magic. There have been people that have questioned, and I'm going back to what I seen in the chat when I was looking at this discussion or listening to this discussion. Someone said, but what if, I'm trying to bind them to me, but what if I get bound to them? Most occultists would know and sympathize with why I side like that. Why would you want somebody to only be bound to you and you don't want to be bound to them? What's the whole purpose of you binding them to you in the first place? Because you want to be bound together. The two become one. Ding, 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 ding. I mean, come on. A little light bulb should have went off in that person's head. Why would you even ask that question? You are one person that is exempt from needing to do any ritual that binds anyone to you, because you clearly have no understanding of what you're doing. So don't do it if you don't know. I found this ritual. I've not done this yet, but I'm always open. I'm not a narrow-minded individual. But this is to amplify your dreams before bed using period blood. So before bed, place a dot of period blood onto your third eye as you fall asleep, calling dreams and visions that you need to see right now. When you wake up, be sure to write down what you saw in your dream journal. Do this for a few nights in a row, and you will start to notice a difference between what you dream of when you are on your period and when you are not. What is the part of the monthly cycle trying to tell you? Are there any themes, symbols, or messages that are coming through? Working with our dreams is really important because they offer shimmering glimpses of the subconscious mind and what is actually going on in our awakened states. And like I said again, I came across this ritual. I thought it was very unique. I have not tried this ritual, but I will try it. I do put things on my third eye before I go to sleep. Period blood is not one of them. But like I said again, I'm always open. I don't, there's a lot of rituals that deals with the menstrual blood. I'm not into all of those, like putting menstrual blood on my face. I will never. But there are people that do, and they have managed to reserve their youth. Okay? There is a lot of things that people do with the menses blood that I would never dream of doing. But like I said again, I don't knock anyone for what they have chosen to do with their menstrual period. God gave it to you for a reason. Use it. Why waste it? Okay? This fluid is coming out of your body for a reason. Okay? So I hope that you found this video very informational. And like I said, you guys, chew and digest what resonates with you and spit out what doesn't. This video was not here to persuade you or to lead you into the occult or anything like that. This information was definitely for informational purposes and educational purposes only. I do not practice using menstrual blood for any other uses other than the fact that I do give it back to the earth. And my life has changed ever since. I've been more psychically connected to my ancestors, source. Like, it's really helped me to be connected in the spiritual realm. And I guess I'm going to go ahead and leave it here, you guys, okay? Thank you so much for your participation, your ears, and being open to listen to something contrast to probably what you're used to. And that's what I'm here for. This is called Rising Ascension for a reason, because I am here to raise the consciousness level of you guys and to bring you back into your divinity. That's the whole purpose, intent and purpose of why I really put my doctor career to the side. I still see clients, but not as much as I do for those that are awakening. I'm more into that than I am doing my naturopath work. I am more into awakening souls and to further assist them on their journey, on wherever they are and whatever phase they're in, because helping others is my calling. I love it, God's sign. I love when that happens. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much. This is the end of the transmission. Namaste. Oh, before I go, the picture that I am using just for legal purposes, I do want to say, is not my own. I do not own any copyright to this picture. I got it from Rebel Society. All credits are due to that website. Namaste.